Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of r/Pettyrevenge. Landscaper kept blocking my driveway, so now he has to walk over a block from his truck. My neighbor directly across the street has his yard serviced every Wednesday morning around 7:30, right at the time I am leaving to drop off my kid at daycare and drive to work. I have had to get out of my car, go find the guy in the yard across the street, and have him move his truck so I can leave now at least 4 times since April. I decided that I was done with this dance and decided to park my wife's car on the street where the landscaper parks his truck on Tuesday nights, so come Wednesday morning he wouldn't be able to block my driveway. We also live on a street that you can only park on one side of, and the police here ticket very quickly if they see you are parked on the wrong side. I also have a fire hydrant in front of my house, and my neighbor to the north of me parks his truck on the street, so with all that the landscaper and his big butt truck and trailer now need to park over a block away and bring all his equipment with him in multiple trips. Next story. Cut me off at the passport control. You'll have to wait for me to suit up. I was traveling by my motorcycle to another country. Motorcycle is internationally considered an uncomfortable transport. I'm basically a pedestrian on 2 wheels, and it means I can legally bypass any car lined at the border and go first. You can sit and relax in your car, turn heating or AC on. I can't do that. It was a national holiday in my country, so lots of cars waiting to cross the border. I'm the only motorcycle in line. I bypass them all and stand waiting for barrier to open. They normally allow 5-8 cars at once. A woman in the car right behind me starts yelling that I'm a jerk, that they waited for hours and hours, and she'll report me to police. Good luck with that. I'm allowed to do what I did. I ignore her and turn music volume higher. Barrier opens, we drive in including her, and while I stand down, remove my helmet and gloves, she jumps out of her car and runs to the passport control staff. Only one booth is open, so it's logical to the person standing first in line to go first, and everyone normally does exactly that. Cars which are behind simply can't bypass anyone who's in the front, at least at this exact border. She gets her leaving the country stamp, triumph in her eyes as she looks at me. She goes back to her car like a queen of England. I patiently wait for her to finish, get my passport stamped, go to my bike, show my bags to officers checking illegal goods. Everything is fine, I can go. The woman behind is given green as well. Then I start dressing up. I put on my helmet. Oh sorry, I forgot my balaclava. I put helmet off. Balaclava on, helmet on, something isn't right, helmet off. I straighten my balaclava, helmet on. Gloves. Oh crap, now I can't lock my helmet. Gloves off, helmet locked, gloves on. Now it's difficult to fish my keys out of my pocket. Gloves off, key into ignition, gloves on. Checking my bags to be locked. Tires for good measure. Okay, I'm good, let me go to the next border. At the next border, crossing into my destination country, she was a sweetheart waiting for me to get my stamp. As a result, I was quick as flash putting my gear on. I'm not that vindictive. Next story. Mom shamed me for my dress. I got revenge. This happened 10 years ago, but I still think about it from time to time. The plot might not be that crazy, but at the time it was a real victory for me. Background. I then newly 18F went shopping for a dress for my senior prom with my best friend. We decided to get the same dress in different colors to match. I now recognize this as cringey, but we were 18. It was a one-shoulder mermaid-style dress. I showed my mom the dress when I got home without actually putting it on, and I don't remember her having any sort of reaction, positive or negative. The skirt needed to be hemmed, so my mom said she would take me to her friend who does tailoring. We went to the tailoring appointment a few days later, and on the way home, I could tell she was angry. She told me that she was ashamed to be seen with me in the dress and that I had shamed her in front of her friend. I was totally blindsided because I hadn't thought of the dress as in any way scandalous, and my mom is not usually overly conservative. The dress was figure-hugging, but there were no cutouts, and it was absolutely a typical prom dress. not something that would draw special attention. She didn't forbid me from wearing it or even offer to get me something else. She just acted disappointed, and I felt like there was nothing I could do about it. I cried for a little while, but then came up with a plan. Revenge, I put the dress on Facebook Marketplace and sold it a few days later without my parents' knowledge. I did the exchange in a shopping center parking lot near my house. I didn't give a stranger my parents' address without telling them, "Don't worry." I got about 23 of my money back. I told my best friend about my plan, and she understood even though it ruined our plans to match. The weekend before the prom, I had my boyfriend drive me to a mall where there was a pop-up tuxedo rental shop, and I rented a women's tuxedo and bought cheap shoes to go with it. I had a driver's license to use for ID even though I didn't have a car. I brought my stuff home and stashed it in my closet. The day of the prom, and I had my boyfriend and some friends over at my house to get ready. I hid myself from my mom while getting ready, and when everyone walked out into the yard where my mom was waiting to take pictures, I walked out last in my tux. The look on her face was incredible. She is rather homophobic and generally critical of gender non-conforming clothing, so I knew she wouldn't approve. She clearly didn't want to say anything in front of my friends, though. She pulled me aside before we left, and I told her something like, "I know you didn't approve of my dress, so I decided to wear something a little more modest." I told her I'd sold the dress and gave her some money to cover the alterations even though I think she'd gotten them free from her friend and then turned around and walked out. We have never talked about this incident. My boyfriend's dad drove me home, and my parents were already asleep when I got there, so there was no awkward ride back. But I think my mom treated me with more respect ever after. Next story. Phone company sent me a bill after I closed my account for a petty amount, so I paid it. So I recently switched phone service providers. Besides a bit of a headache with migrating my phone number to the new service, things weren't bad. Due to the migration taking a couple days past the end of my normal billing period, the previous provider sent me a bill for, let us say, $3.50. Postage alone, in my opinion, made this a bad move on the service provider part, but hey, it is a bill, so I will pay it. I don't want to send my money back by mail, as that could risk bill never being paid, and I don't feel like calling them and paying them over the phone. So I hop on their website and go to their guest pay since my old account was closed when they migrated my account. Turns out guest payments are $1.05 in min. You would think this is where they are trying to screw me, but this is actually why I came to pay online. Due to the bill being under $5, this means they have to send me my change back in the mail. The postage cost of 2 pieces of mail is nearing the difference in change that I expected them to send me. Their change return mail finally got to me today. They sent me $9 on a debit card. I have no idea how that math works, but they are the ones that sent me the bill. Next story. Slept with your ex literal days after I tell you I love you? No, I don't want the ceramic coffee mug you bought me for Father's Day. I was dating this girl for a little while. I have kids, she has kids, and it was all good for quite a while. She did tell me right off the bat that she still lives with her ex for financial reasons. Neither of them could afford to move out, and she wants nothing to do with him. I did tell her I was a little uncomfortable about it and a little jealous, but I've been there before with my kid's mom, so I decided to trust her. I know, silly me. Last week she came over to my house on Friday and stayed the night, and left to go to her niece's birthday party wearing my coat. While she was here, I told her that I love her, and she said it back. Then she went out with her friend to the bar Saturday night, and then came back to my house and cuddled up next to me in bed. Sunday morning she left and really didn't talk to me a whole lot. She said she felt bad after she went to the bar, but wouldn't elaborate why. Not like she was hungover, like she didn't feel good about herself, and I told her that she deserved to cut loose every now and then, before correcting me saying that she had fun, but then dropped the conversation. I was getting kind of tired of carrying the conversation and being told she didn't want to talk about what was bothering her, so I went to bed. The next day she told me she did something bad and that she wanted to avoid me until it all blew over. Obviously, I poked and prodded until she told me what it was, and she said she wanted to talk to me about it in person, but I told her it was a bad idea, and she finally admitted she slept with her ex. It had nothing to do with the bar, but she needed male validation, and it felt like I didn't care after I went to bed, and that she was so sorry. She's moving back in with her mom, and that I could have the code to her phone. I told her that she told me I had nothing to worry about, and yet she jumped on his penis the second I got tired of carrying the conversation. So I wanted my coat back, and that she should drop it off when I wasn't home. She did, and she left a mug that she bought me for Father's Day, as well as a letter telling me again how sorry she was, and that she didn't want to lose me. The worst part is that I liked the mug, but the thought of her with him filled me with blind rage, so I smashed it, put it in a box, wrote her name on it, and tossed it into her front yard. No, I'm not going to forgive you for sleeping with an ex that you swore I had nothing to worry about. The same one who you fight with constantly and talk bad about at every turn. I'm not coming back. I don't want your damn mug. I sincerely hope you feel like crap over the whole thing. Edit. Looks like she found the package. I got a text from her that says, I am sorry, I mean it. I hate myself enough as it is. You really didn't have to drop the mug smashed up in the middle of my yard. I'm sorry. I have hated myself every second since. I'm sorry. I want to make it up to you. I didn't mean for it to sound like I was blaming you. None of it was your fault. I'm sorry. I'm truly deeply sorry, Idronedmafish 77, to which I replied, go F a cactus before blocking her number and all of her socials. Thanks everyone. Next story. Little bro stole my money, so I got him back with his worst fear. So recently my younger bro has really been annoying me, like he ate all the chips I bought for myself with my name written on the bags, slapping me randomly despite me not doing anything to him, stealing my stuff and hiding it in random places, etc. Thing is, he's scared of clowns, like super scared. He's even scared of cartoon clowns. He even won't watch Batman movies because he's scared the Joker will be in them. Well, about a month ago, I was at a local thrift store and found a 2-foot clown doll. The thing was actually kinda scary, so I bought it and hid it in my closet thinking it would come in handy. Well, a few days ago, turns out my little bro stole all my money. And well, he went to the mall with his friends and bought some shoes with the money he stole. I was really pissed, but he wouldn't apologize, even after I told my parents. Later that night, he was at football practice, while my parents were at a fancy restaurant, so I was home alone. Still mad at what he did, I decided to go in my closet and get out that clown doll, glued a knife to his hand, and hid it in my brother's bed. Well, later that night he got home, and I was just chilling in the family room watching Power Rangers Ninja Steel on Netflix while eating a bowl of mint ice cream, when suddenly I hear a loud scream come from upstairs. Yep, he found the clown doll. He was scared crapless, and I couldn't stop laughing and told him that is what he gets for stealing my money and for bugging me. He deeply apologized and begged me that as long as I don't scare him with that doll again, he will stop bugging me and give me his money from his piggy bank, to which I accepted, and then went back downstairs to finish what I was doing. So far, he hasn't bugged me a single time after that incident. Next story. I thought she was my friend. I have a coworker that I thought was my friend. We have worked together for almost a year. A few months ago, she walked out on her job. She wanted to come back and I got her job back. I've loaned her money, bought her food when she didn't have any, and even defended her on multiple occasions. Well, yesterday I found out that she has been talking mad crap behind my back, and flat out lying about me to the new employees. It really hurt because I have done so much for her. I was on closing shift last night, so I had to do the deposit. On the top of the deposit bag, we write our tips so we can minus it in the daily operating report to see if we are short. And we leave the top of the deposit bag on the desk because the deposit bag number is needed to open the store in the morning. I know for a fact that this coworker gets angry when she sees people getting large tips. It makes her jealous because she is really bad with money and always totally broke. And because of how she treats customers, she never gets tips. I decided to write a fake number for my tips. I only got like $8 in tips, but I wrote $48 knowing it was going to totally destroy her whole day. There is no way for her to verify my tips, and writing a fake number down doesn't affect anything at all. It's not like it will mess up count or anything. And 48 in tips wouldn't be common, but not unheard of for a Friday night. I've gotten larger tips for the night. Then, today she texted me asking if I could come into work an hour early so she could leave an hour early. I've never told her no before. I've always helped her out when she asked. But today I rocked the boat and told her nope. I know she's at work right now totally fuming because she thinks I got large tips and because I would not come in early for her. I'm sitting here eating my dinner in my car feeling satisfied for the moment. Update. So, I didn't expect my pettiness to have such an effect on her. I got to work tonight, and as soon as I walked in the door, she started slamming stuff around and throwing stuff. I went straight into the bathroom and texted my GM. He immediately got on the security cams and started watching her. I kept my head down and my mouth shut and said absolutely nothing to her. After watching her for about 5 minutes, he hopped in his car and came straight to work. On his day off, she still didn't stop slamming stuff around, but it wasn't quite as violent once he got to work. He told me he was going to have a sit-down with her tomorrow about her behavior and her creating a hostile work environment for everyone when she behaves that way. My GM said he hopes she quits tomorrow so we don't have to deal with her anymore. Update 2. I have a routine before work. I usually leave an hour and a half before work, grab some dinner, and then sit in a parking lot playing Pokemon Go. I drove by work and her car is there, so obviously she didn't walk out. Ugh, I was really hoping to see my GM's car there and not hers. Let's see how she is behaving today after my GM spoke with her. Final update. I get to work and she starts slamming stuff around again. I just keep my head down and ignore her. I text the GM. She then calls the GM and lies about a few things. Whatever. I don't care at this point. GM confronts her about slamming stuff around. She denies it, hangs up on him, leaves her key in the office and clocks out and leaves. On her way out the door, she threatened to sue me for defamation of character. I almost laughed in her face, but I just ignored her. Looks like the trash finally took itself out. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel. Our posts.